What's going on, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday. Making a turn on this week, March 27th. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Also available online, sportstalk1051.com. Stream it up over there. Um, got your smart speakers, smart devices, the app. Take it on the go worldwide, if you know what I mean. Video stream also up and rolling, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Big thanks for making us a part of your start here. And boy, do we got a full lineup of stuff to get to. What do we got on the game plan here? We're going to talk we'll talk some baseball as spring training is officially in the books now. The Crew will open up their season tomorrow. Will be open up their season tomorrow against the New York Mets, as you all know. But we'll take a look at that and maybe get some more updates on how the roster will look like and such. But nonetheless, we'll talk some baseball coming up here. Also on the dockets, we're going to talk some hoops. Bad loss by the Milwaukee Bucks last night, going up against the Lakers, the LeBron James less Lakers, and the Bucks started off hot. I mean, they looked like they were going to roll, and then fourth quarter came by, and the Bucks put up 13 total points. 13 total points in the fourth quarter. Lakers outscoring them by 14, forcing overtime. Not one, but two overtimes. And the Lakers able to get a 128 to 124 victory. Anthony Davis out on 52 minutes. D'Angelo Russell played 50 minutes. But Anthony Davis, 34 points and 23 rebounds. Giannis tried to match at 29 points, 21 rebounds, also had 11 assists, triple-double for the Greek Freak. Dame put up 27 and 8 assists, Beasley 21, but Middleton was just 4 of 15 from the field for 12 points, and Lopez just 9 points. Bobby Portis 18 off the bench, but bad loss by the Bucks last night at home against the Lakers. So we've got 10 more games left to go in the regular season for the Bucks. Next up, they're going to be taking on the Pelicans tomorrow night. So we'll throw some hoops. And speaking of hoops, Badger star AJ Storr becoming draft eligible, declaring for the NBA draft yesterday while maintaining his college eligibility. So, again, reminder, what does that mean? He can go through the draft process, he can get some feedback, kind of go through that, get some feedback from the NBA scouts and such. And if he finds out that maybe he's not going to be a first round pick or not a fairly high pick, he can go back to college. So whether that's for the Badgers or such, who knows right now? But that's where things are right now with AJ Storr. He's declaring for the draft while keeping his college eligibility. So he either can stay in the NBA draft, or if he gets, once he gets that feedback from the NBA peeps and the scouts and that, if it's not nothing that he likes or maybe he thinks he can get better at, may come back to college. Then he can come back to college with remaining or keeping that college eligibility there. But something to kind of keep an eye on moving forward here. So there's your Badger basketball nugget. I know there's a lot of people, especially on social, saying he's leaving too early. Again, reminder, that's he's keeping that college eligibility, just kind of going through the process. And you know what? If I was in his position and I had a chance to go through, the draft process and get some feedback from NBA peeps while potentially still going back to college, if I heard if I heard stuff I didn't like or heard stuff that I got to really improve on, I'd do it. Absolutely. If I was in a position to do that, if I was a college basketball player who had draft aspirations playing in the NBA, and I had a chance to declare for it and then go through the process and get that feedback while still potentially going back to college if I wasn't going to be a high pick, yeah, 100%. So I don't fault AJ Storr. I don't criticize it. Um, I don't I don't down it at all. Get that feedback. If his goal is to play in the NBA, which we know it is, and you have a chance to get that, go for it. So, I know some Badgers fans are criticizing him for leaving too early. He could still come back. He could still be playing another year of college ball. He's doing something that will hopefully better his playing career. Or maybe he's going to get all that feedback saying, hey, yeah, dude, you're going to be a first round pick. Well, then I can't blame him too. So, speaking of Badgers, too, Badgers versus Cal in football. So, talk about potential 2029 and 2030. When you add in the Big Ten expansion and such, man, that Badger schedule is going to look pretty interesting here. But it's already kind of interesting. Got Alabama and the expanded Big Ten coming up here. But nonetheless, got to wonder, hey, Aaron Rodgers might be retired by then. Maybe he can be an honorary captain. Kind of kidding a little bit there. Wouldn't it be weird, though, if they played those games at Lambeau? But since Rodgers went to Cal. But nonetheless, Badgers, Cal, another home and away series, as you heard in the news update there at the beginning. Packers, they got a new kicker. We're going to be talking about that coming up here in just a skosh. Greg Joseph, former Minnesota Vikings kicker. The Packers reportedly agreed to a one-year deal, according to Greg Joseph's agent yesterday. So what does this mean about Anders Carlson? Don't think it necessarily means Anders Carlson is out of a job. I don't think this means that, Greg Joseph is necessarily going to be the kicker next year for Green Bay. Could be completely wrong, but what I do think this means is we are going to get a training camp preseason competition between these two. Because if you look at Greg Joseph's numbers, I mean, they aren't, like eye-poppingly better than what Anders Carlson was last year. I do wonder, with the new kicking rules that passed yesterday, does this kind of factor into it? Because I think, now you need a kicker that's got to be pretty darn accurate on kickoffs if you want to keep it in that landing zone, right? So, a couple of nuggets here on Greg Joseph. Greg Joseph on kicks of 40 or more yards last year, he was 7 of 13. Anders Carlson was the exact same. The big difference, though, is probably maybe on extra points. Greg Joseph is a 90% kicker on extra points and a 65% kicker on field goals of 40 or more yards. Got a leg. Got a bunch of makes over 50 yards there. But again, it's like Anders Carlson. He's kind of like an Anders Carlson a little bit. Big leg, but maybe a little inconsistency in the accuracy over there. He holds, and this is from his agent on Twitter, he holds the NFL record for game winners in a season, 5. Vikings record for the longest field goal, 61. And led the NFL in touchback percentage in 21. Had other interests, but liked this opportunity. So there you have it. But I just think this is going to set up for a training camp battle now. Maybe this is what gets Anders motivated a little bit. Who knows? But I know, you know what? I'll say we'll talk about this coming up here in just a little bit. So, but I've got a couple other thoughts on this thing. Mark Murphy also talking a little bit to the media, to the Packers media yesterday. Maybe got some drama brewing between the city of Green Bay and Lambeau Field. We're going to hit that up in our Business of Sports segment coming up in a little bit later on, brought to you by Security Financial Bank. But one thing is, Mark Murphy is he once in a while will let something slip, or maybe just has a I don't care sort of thing. Just kind of like, I'll say this. What's going to happen? But he said yesterday the NFL is deciding between them and the Browns on who's going to play the Eagles week 1 in Brazil. I don't know if the NFL certainly liked Mark Murphy leaking that out and saying that, but according to him, it's between the Packers and the Browns, who will be going to Brazil to face the Eagles in week 1, and sounds like we'll know that in the next week or two because that's what Roger Goodell said yesterday. So, anybody want to travel for a Packers international game might have to go to Brazil week 1, right in September there. So, but we'll talk some more football. Obviously, we went a little bit or touched on Matt LaFleur's comments a little bit yesterday. So maybe we'll revisit some of that over there too. So we got that. We'll do a little classes in session coming up next hour. Yeah, so we're going to be hitting up a ton of stuff here this morning. So let's just jump right into it. All right. Let's take the first break, and then we'll get the leadoff going here. We'll chat a little football to get things going. Packers signing up a brand new kicker. We'll go through some of the other comments from Mark Murphy and Matt LaFleur from yesterday. But we'll hit that up. We'll talk some Badger hoops with AJ Storr deciding to go to the draft unless he decides to come back. We've got opening day starting tomorrow. An ugly loss by the Bucks yesterday, so plenty to get to, plenty to break down. I want you to join in on the convo. Start hitting me up with some texts. 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Let's get at it. First break, and then we get going here. Let's get her going. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Perks. I love perks. You love perks. We all love perks. And one of the best perks you can find in the Chippewa Valley is Hy-Vee Perks. Hy-Vee Perks is a free and easy program for Hy-Vee shoppers. Access exclusive perks prices, earn discounts on gas when you purchase designated products at Hy-Vee, and save more with exclusive deals, offers, and rewards. Hey, the best part? Free to join too. Not a part of Hy-Vee Perks yet? No worries. Just stop by Hy-Vee in Eau Claire to sign up. Start taking advantage of the best shopping deals in the Chippewa Valley right now with Hy-Vee and Hy-Vee Perks. We'll be over at Hy-Vee tomorrow for our opening day get-together. Be over there starting around 11:30. First pitch scheduled about 12:10 in as the Brewers begin their opening day against the Mets. So if you got the day off or looking to go somewhere, maybe for your lunchtime or something like that, stop on by at Hy-Vee at the Wahlburgers bar location over there. We'll be up over there taking in the game. So let's we'll have a lot of baseball breakdowns and previews. Just give you a little bit of a heads up for tomorrow. Get ready for your Brewers predictions, your season predictions, how many wins, do you have them going to the postseason, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we're gonna hit that. We'll deep dive into all that and get your picks for that. Speaking of you, all of you listening right now, maybe there's only a couple, maybe there's a few of you. I'm looking for maybe some well, let me ask this first. Like, I'm kind of looking for a little bit of a roll call here. Like, where are you tuning in from? Because I want to see if we could get some. I want to put a map up here in the studio. Okay. For first off, I want to put like a map up here in a state, good old state. Although we got to put maybe England up here for our good friend Tom from across the pond here. But I'm potentially looking for like some contributors or something like that to kind of get like, okay, maybe there's Joe in Rice Lake. What's Joe in Rice Lake? Hey, Joe, what's the word in Rice Lake? What's the word on the Brewers this season? What do people think about the Brewers or Mike and Lady Smith? You know, kind of looking for those peeps. So give me a little bit of a roll call. All right, hit me up with a text and see if you'd be interested in kind of being like our boots on the ground, if you will. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's Nancy and River Falls. I don't know. Yeah, just kind of looking for that. That way we can like get some info. What is Tom in Hudson think about the Packers kicking situation? Or Tom and Hudson, what is the area over there think about Greg Joseph coming over to Green Bay? You know, kind of get different perspectives that way. So give me a little bit of roll call where you're listening to us from. Okay. And then maybe we can put together a team. There we go. We'll put together a team of contributors out there and get some input from different parts of the state. So I want to get your input. I want to get your thoughts, your analysis, your opinions. So we got England covered. Tom over there listens to us, our resident Lions fan and such. Good man, Tom. Tom, if you're still listening, I know I told you this. If you ever come back to Wisconsin and you go to a Packers Lions game at Lambeau, we're gonna do something. We're gonna make that event over there at Lambeau. So, all right, let's get things rolling here this morning. All right, so hit me up with a text 715-830-1912 or hit me up on Twitter /X at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports. And I'm serious about this too. All right. I'm serious. And if you're on vacation and maybe you're listening in another state, that doesn't count. It's got to be your residence. Okay. It's got to be your residence over there. So I'll check the texting line here in just a little bit because this is going to be a season long, year long sort of thing. All right. I've got weird ideas. Anybody who knows me, I'm an ideas man. I thrive on enthusiasm. If you know the movie Wedding Crashers. So, anyways, let's talk some football. Packers have a new kicker, or do they? Well, technically they do. Greg Joseph, the former Minnesota Vikings kicker, signing a one-year deal to join the Pack this year. And we kind of knew, I mean, listening to Goody and such, that the Pack was probably looking for some veteran competition, at least in training camp and spring training. Or, see, I got spring training on my mind. Preseason this year. So yesterday, after it was announced of the new kicking changes, Packers bringing in Greg Joseph, former Vikings kicker, spent some time with Cleveland, Tennessee, but the last couple of years was with Minnesota. Now, I'm sure on the surface, a lot of people figured, okay, he's the new kicker. I would maybe pump the brakes a little bit here. I think right now it is a straight up competition. It is best man wins in training camp, in preseason. Because when you look at, some of the numbers here, there's a lot of similarities between Joseph and Anders Carlson. Both have big legs. Big legs in terms of distance on the kicks, okay? I mean, Anders, I think, he's a little bit of a taller dude over there. Greg's 6 foot. Anders is like 6'5", I believe. Anyways, but you look at, and I know it's just 1 year of Anders compared to Greg Joseph and such, but there's similarities between these guys. Anders last year, okay, just for a reminder, extra point percentage. Anders was 87.2%. Last year, Greg Joseph, extra point percentage was 94.7. Okay, he was 36 of 38. Anders was 34 of 39. Field goal percentage, Greg Joseph last year was 80. Anders, 81.8. Okay. Anders made 27 of 33 field goal attempts, while Greg Joseph made 24 of 30. Greg Joseph's last year, his longest was 54, Anders 53. If we're looking at, if you want to break it down by distances, Greg Joseph last year was a perfect 7 of 7 from 20 to 29. And he was a perfect perfect 9 of 9 from 30 to 39. So perfect essentially from zero, because he made one under 19 yards. He was perfect from 0 to 39 yards. Anders was also perfect from 0 to 39 yards. He was 6 of 6 from 20 to 29, 14 of 14 from 30 to 39. Now gets into the 40 to 49 yard range, okay? Joseph last year was 3 of 6 from 40 to 49. Now, years prior, the previous year, he was 7 of 8 and then 7 of 9. But last year was just 3 of 6 from 40 to 49. Anders from 40 to 49 was 50%, 4 of 8. Similar, right? 50%. And then when you go at 50 yards or higher, Greg Joseph was 4 of 7. Anders Carlson, 3 of 5. So, I mean, it's not like Greg Joseph is coming in here and has eye-poppingly awesome numbers compared to Anders Carlson when we look at Greg Joseph's numbers from last year. So the other part in this is if we look at percentage of time, I think now we got to factor in kickoffs because of the new kickoff rule. Last year, and these numbers might be a little bit, because maybe take it a little bit with a grain of salt because of the new rules here, but gives us a little bit of an idea here. But Greg Joseph last year, percentage of the time that the kickoff was a touchback, 77.2%. Anders was 43%. 43%. Now, the caveat to all that could be, or the other note to all this could be, what was the Packers' plans for kickoff? Were they, trying to keep it within the in that landing zone now that they didn't want to have all the touchbacks, so they wanted to force some returns. So that's why his touchback percentage is a little bit lower. Was that a Rich Bisaccia thing? Was that a Packers thing where they wanted to force more returns? They wanted to force that, so that's why the percentage is down. And maybe, Minnesota wise, they tried to have more touchbacks. We don't know that answer necessarily, because it sure seems like with Anders' leg, if he wanted to kick it out of the back of the end zone, more times than not he could. So you got those over there that might be a little skewed. But I just think now with the kickoff rule, if you got a team that wants to really try to make sure that ball sticks in that landing zone and force some returns, you're going to need a kicker now that's going to be a little bit more accurate. Kind of have to have a little golf game going at it. Maybe bust out that wedge and stick it right into that landing zone. Get a little stand wedge or a lob wedge or a gap wedge out there and pluck that thing in there. So what is Rich Bisaccia's thoughts on the new kickoff rule? Like, what's going to be their game plan? Are they going to, try to consistently put that thing in the landing zone and force some returns? Or are they going to be like, screw it, we're just going to kick it out of the back of the end zone and, start it up at 35, 30, whatever it's at now. 30, I think. Because I do think what's going to happen if we do see an increase in returns and touchdown returns, I do think you're going to see teams then maybe kind of, if they go up, let's say Keyshawn Nixon goes out there and just lights it up in the return game. Like he's like Devin Hester, Dante Hall, Brian Mitchell from back in the day, whoever. Let's say he's got a bunch of returns. Guarantee you teams now then are probably just going to screw it. We're going to just kick it in the back of the end zone and you guys get to start at 30. We ain't going to mess with a potential return for a touchdown. That's if some of these players and some of these teams can take advantage of that and are really good at making those returns. You're going to see some adjustments here or there. Now, will the NFL and the competition committee kind of alter those again like they did this year? I don't know. Probably not. But I think you're going to see a lot of teams now try to find that speedster to put out there in the return game and try to take advantage of that. So I know there were some Packers fans yesterday, at least on the socials, pretty excited. Like, hey, all right, we got a kicker. That's going to, change things a little bit. No. I'd hold your breath a little bit. I think it's going to be a straight up competition. And I go back to last year, spring training. See, I keep saying spring training, preseason and training camp. I was one of those who wanted a veteran kicker in camp to give Anders some competition and maybe just even kind of provide some veteran leadership. They had Daniel Whalen, a rookie punter, but they also had Pat O'Donnell in, and they went with a rookie punter. And I don't know how much Pat O'Donnell helped Daniel Whalen, but just to have a little bit of a competition there, but also have a veteran presence there. And I thought that could have been beneficial for an Anders. I don't think they would have brought in Mason and then cut Mason for a rookie because Mason was just such a long-time Packer. I think that was just probably like, we're not going to go that way. But I thought they could have brought in another veteran to provide a little competition, because I don't think competition hurts, and to maybe provide a little bit of that veteran mentorship, if you will. I feel like they went with the route or with the mindset, hey, we got a rookie kicker in. We don't want to maybe put a little more pressure on him by having a veteran in and maybe him thinking too much and getting into his head. And the other part is, too, I really felt, it's hindsight 2020 now, but I really, when you look back at it and you look back at some of the comments from Goody throughout the year, how, we're going to stick with Anders and that. I think they were willing to live with the ups and downs, and we talked about this last year. They were willing to live with the ups and downs of a rookie kicker. But I also think they were willing to do that because I don't think they would ever admit it, but I don't think they thought that they were gonna be in a position maybe to go to the NFC Championship game. A few plays here and there. They exceeded those expectations. So I personally feel like, again, they would never admit that, but I personally feel like they had maybe a little bit of a mindset, "Hey, we're willing to go through the ups and downs of a rookie kicker because, yeah, we probably know we're not gonna be champs this year or Super Bowl champs this year. So we're willing to go through the ups and downs and hopefully, ideally, it'll be, the growing pains and this will benefit him for his future." But I think the way Jordan Love played, the way those rookie receivers, tight ends, a lot of other players played, and a few plays away from potentially going to the NFC Championship game against a team that they were very familiar with. We talked about it. That changed expectations. We're back to, all right, competing for Super Bowls again. You don't have a grace period anymore. So, all right, where's the weaknesses on this team? Well, one of the big weaknesses last year was the inconsistency on the kicking game. So let's bring in a veteran and kind of maybe cover our butts in that department in case we get into camp and we have some preseason games, and it's clearly evident that Anders maybe just isn't the dude. We're going to have a backup plan here. I do wonder if Green Bay had a poo-poo year last year, let's say, where they just won a few games, they weren't in the playoffs, weren't in contention, if they still bring in a veteran kicker. I still kind of wonder that. And a veteran kicker that's had, a few years under his belt in the league, not just like a guy that has been on some practice squads for the last couple of years, but a guy who's kicked in games, a lot of games. I do wonder if they would have still done that because I'm kind of up in the air on that. So that's definitely, we already know that's going to be a training camp battle to watch before the draft, before some other potential moves being made. We know that's probably going to be one of the top, if not the top, position battle to watch starting in July, end of July. Can the rookie handle a little competition from a veteran, knowing that his job might be on the line? Pressure is a privilege, as Jordan Love likes to say, right? Well, let's see if Anders believes the same thing. As a kicker, I would think you can handle some pressure. I would think you'd be able to handle that or embrace it a little bit. But that's definitely going to be one of the top battles to watch in preseason and training camp this year. All right, let's take a quick break here. We'll get back to some more football talk here. Little drama brewing between the city of Green Bay and the Packers here. There's this whole talk about lease negotiations being stalled and such. So if you're kind of wondering what the heck is going on there, we'll break it down a little bit later on as part of our business of sports segments coming up at 8:05. But you got Mark Murphy kind of calling out a little bit the Green Bay mayor, then the Green Bay mayor going on social media with a statement, some back and forth there. You got Packers.com posting an article saying they're disappointed. So it's just like, here we go. A little bit of drama. But I don't think it's too much to worry about. Don't think it's too much to worry about. So, all right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in a few minutes to finish up the first hour here after these quick words. Are you looking to get your name out in the public eye more? Do you need some apparel, some drinkware, or maybe some signage done? Whatever marketing materials you may be looking for, Resonance Branding Company has a wide range of items to help make your brand stand out from the competition. All your branding needs in one convenient place. Resonance is here to save you time, money, and headaches. And they can also set you up with an online store to sell your items too. So let me simply ask you, does your brand resonate? Resonance Branding Company, the official swag provider for the program and the Man Cave podcast. Big thanks to some of you who have texted in. We got a all right. We're represented from Cadott. We got an Albertville over there. All right. Let's do a little roll call because again, I'm gonna pipe this up. I've got an idea. Got a crazy idea, but I got an idea. Okay. So I'm looking for some people in different parts of the state to see where we're at. And maybe get some might have to make you guys part of our team, pro staff, whatever, contributors, sort of thing. Boots on the ground, if you know what I mean. So hit me up with a text or a tweet or shout outs on Facebook here. Tell me where you live and not necessarily if you're on vacation and listening from over there. So all right. We'll get back to some more Packers talk. We'll talk about this Lambeau Field lease drama thing coming up a little bit later on. But we've got the Badgers yesterday. AJ Storr announcing that he was declaring for the NBA draft while keeping his college eligibility. I know there was a lot of Badger fans having some fun with this on social media, at least on our pages. There were. Um, I, I, I totally get it. Now, here's a statement from AJ Storr first. To the incredible fans of the Wisconsin Badgers, as I sit down to write this message, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude for the University of Wisconsin. This journey as a student athlete has been one of the most profound experiences of my life. The unwavering support, guidance, and opportunities I've received from this community have been truly amazing. Joining this program under Coach Gard has been a dream come true. It's been my lifelong ambition to play basketball at the highest level. I find myself at a pivotal moment. I have decided to engage and experience the NBA draft process, all while maintaining my college eligibility. To my family, your unwavering support and encouragement helped keep alive my dream of one day playing in the NBA. As I pondered this next step, I'm reminded of a quote from one of my favorite players, Kobe Bryant, which resonates deeply with me. The most important thing is to try and inspire people so that they can be great in whatever they want to do. My time here has been filled with moments of inspiration. Thanks to you all, my aim has always been to inspire and be inspired to push boundaries and to redefine limits, just as Kobe did throughout his career. The memories, lessons, and friendships I've made here will forever be a part of who I am. Thank you, Badger Nation, for everything with all my heart, AJ. So, AJ, again, deciding to go through the draft process while keeping his college eligibility out there. I don't fault him at all. Do I feel like, in my personal non-expertise opinion, do I feel like he will be a first-round pick? I mean, I think he's got some improvements that he's got to make on the defensive side and maybe three-point shooting. Is he athletic and can he get to the rim and does he have a nice mid-range game? Absolutely. But if he has this opportunity to go out there and go through the draft process, get some feedback from NBA people while keeping his college eligibility, I don't fault him at all. If I was in his position, I would do the same thing. If I was a college basketball player that, hey, my stock's kind of trending upward right now, that's kind of going up, and I have an opportunity to get feedback from, and my goal has always been to play in the NBA, and I've got an opportunity to get some feedback, maybe to find out if scouts think I'm ready, scouts think I'm going to be a first round pick, or those scouts can give me some pointers and some tips on the area of the game that I got to improve on so I can be a first round pick. I'd take that in a heartbeat. And knowing that, hey, I'm going through this process. I'm getting this feedback. And if I find out I might not get drafted or I might be a very late second round pick, and I'm like, maybe I need to go back for another year, work on my game, get better. Knowing I have that in my back pocket, absolutely. I would do that in a heartbeat. But reading his statement, if he does decide to come back, I almost wonder if it's not going to be at Wisconsin. Because he's pretty much saying goodbye to Wisconsin and to Badger Nation. I could be completely wrong, and I could be completely off on that. If he goes through this process and he decides to come back, I think the Badgers would welcome him back with open arms. I think the one area though that I would have a question mark is if he decides to come back to college, is it going to be for sure with Wisconsin, or is he going to go in the transfer portal? And if it's in the transfer portal, is it going to be at a program that, quote unquote, shines a bigger light on him or whatever, which I think is kind of bull because we've had first round picks come out of Wisconsin. And I think when it comes to like college basketball, we've seen these kids, I'm going to call them kids now, these players that have come out of programs where it's like, huh? I mean, you got G League players who are first round picks. So if you're good and you're an NBA talent, they're going to find you and they're going to know about you. We've seen that. Okay. But the one thing I would wonder, and if I could ask AJ Storr a question and get a truthful answer, it would be, okay, you go through this process, you go through this draft process, and you find out, you know what, I'm going to come back for another year. Is that going to be at Wisconsin or not? Is it going to be there, or do you have your eye set on somewhere else, or are you going to enter that portal? I don't know what the scouts are going to say to him. I don't know what kind of feedback he's going to get. I just know from my non-expertise opinion from watching him this year, I think he's got to get better defensively, and I think he's got to get better more consistently with his three. Can he get to the rim? Yeah. Can he get it? Does he have a nice mid-range jump? He's got a solid one there. But there's other parts of that game that I think he definitely needs to work on. And the one thing, we see it a lot. Some of these guys, they may be first-round picks and they make that jump, but then we don't hear about them anymore. Were they necessarily ready? It's easy for us to criticize it. Hindsight 2020. Money talks, though. Money speaks. Let's be real. And as a kid, if you're living your dream and you potentially could be a first-round draft pick, that's hard to say no to. That's really hard to say no to. You might be riding the pine at the end of the bench there for a while, but it's hard to say no to that. But looks like from some of the guys who have entered a transfer portal, you can look at it online. There's a ton of it. But if you follow some of the college basketball peeps out there, they've been posting some updates about players who declared for the transfer portal and teams who have already reached out to a lot of these guys. Wisconsin is on that list for a lot of these players. So Greg Gard and his staff, Krabbenhoft and all that. On the surface, it looks like they're really trying to target that transfer portal and to get some guys in here. Now, whether they have any success in bringing any of those guys, we shall see. All right, coming up next hour, we'll talk some Bucks after that ugly loss last night to the Lakers. We'll get back to some more football talk as well. Morgs.
How's it going? Packers gear today.
Yeah.
Head to toe.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you think of the new kickoff rules? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? You feel kind of neutral about everything today?
No, I like it. I just, I'm glad the return game's back.
Yeah?
Might be a little gimmicky. It might be a little bit of trying to adjust to all the different potential starting spots in there, but I'll get used to it.
Okay.
I'll get used to it.
All right.
So
you're feeling pretty about most of that. We're going to talk about some debate topics. You got to take a side. You can't play neutral. As one of my teachers used to say in high school, in-betweenies are just weenies. So you have to pick a side. Ice cream is better than cake.
Ice cream is better than cake. Yes.
Really?
Ice cream cake.
Oh, you can't combine them. That's a cheater's
That's a
move.
nice.
Cheater's move.
No.
Pick one.
Ice cream.
All right.
Yep.
Wednesday wild card with round pizzas are better than rectangular ones. When you have a pizza, do you cut in squares or triangles?
It's squares.
You're a square
The
cutter?
little squares. Yep.
Why?
I like the middle of it. No crust on there. It tastes better.
Okay, I can tell you from experience, I ran like a little social experiment in my home.
Mm-hmm.
More get eaten if they're in little squares
Yeah.
than in triangles.
Mhm.
Like the whole pizza's gone if it gets cut in little squares, and there's like a triangle or two left if you cut it like that.
I know
It's
I'm a little
pizza
kid
math.
with this. Yes.
Pizza
Yep.
math.
I like it.
All right, how about the best kind of cookies? Chocolate chips, say the surveys.
Chocolate chip. Yeah, right.
That is the best? You
Yeah,
don't
chocolate chip.
Oh, chocolate
Yeah.
chip. Right.
You
Okay.
got to get it soggy in the milk, though.
Ketchup on a hot dog.
Yes.
Chicken wings or mini drumsticks?
Okay, so when you're saying the wings, are those like the actual wing
Yes.
size
Yeah.
ones? Okay. Mini drumsticks.
Bone in or bone out?
Depends on the day.
Oh, wow. You're fickle? You're fickle? Some days are bone in, bone out
Bone
day.
in. But if I'm in a little bit of a hurry, yeah, we'll go bone out, fork it up, and it's a nugget. So
Okay. Oh, that's true. Once you take the bones out, you're basically dealing with a fancy chicken nugget.
yeah.
All right. Sandwiches, better with the crusts off.
Yeah.
You cut your crust off?
I don't cut it off, but I would agree that it is better with it off.
But
I'm just too lazy to.
let's be honest. You would cut your crust off still as a grown adult.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So talk to me now about the order of a burger. Cheese on the bottom, then meat, or meat and then cheese?
Meat then cheese.
Always?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I'd rather have that melted cheese go over the burger instead of underneath and getting the bottom bun soggy.
So there's a process and a
Yes.
science to it.
Yes.
Okay. How about best pizza toppings?
Oh, pepperoni.
Hands down.
Pepperoni.
What about green peppers? Talk to me about that.
No. My ultimate pizza has got 4 meats and black and green olives.
Hot or cold?
Hot. Yeah.
You know, I think cold.
Second hour kicking off right now on this Wednesday morning. Making a turn on this week. Appreciate you tuning in wherever, however, you may be tuning in from. Big thanks to all of you who have kind of given us a little bit of a roll call here. I will be reaching out to you if you're okay with that, with some more details. So again, if you're just joining us here this morning, so I've got this kind of weird, crazy idea here. All right, so want to see where everybody's listening to us from. So if we got, Mary up in Solon Springs or whatever listening, Mary, we might have to have Mary from Solon Springs be like a contributor, like kind of get like what's the chitter chat like in Solon Springs about the Brewers so far this year, or what are their expectations? Okay, I've got this weird idea. I'll reach out to you individually for those, but if you could give me a little bit of I'm John Doe from so and so, let me know. Okay, looks like we've got Cadats, we've got a Colfax or Albertville, excuse me, over there. So hit me up with the text 715-830-1912 or on Twitter at DANKASPER. Okay, got a weird idea. Surveyor, I know you listen wherever the job takes you. So, all right, we're going to talk some basketball coming up here. Bucks wise, bad loss last night by the Bucks. Looks like they controlled the game. I mean, they came out hot in that first quarter. No LeBron James. Bucks looked like they were just going to take care of business. 32-16 after the first. Still holding on to a 60-point lead going into the half, but Lakers held them to just 13 in the fourth and outscored them by 14 to force overtime, then another overtime, and the Bucks ended up losing in double overtime, 128-124. So we'll talk some Bucks coming up here in just a little bit. But it is Wednesday, so it's time for a little classes in session. And let's this is kind of perfect timing here because when I was looking at some topics here, this day in 1989, Sports Illustrated exposed Pete Rose's gambling activities. The magazine article alleged Rose bet on baseball from the riverfront dugout using hand gestures with an associate. Timing wise, with the whole Ohtani stuff going on out there, right? So maybe if you're a little bit younger, or maybe you're not too familiar with the whole background on it, here's a little bit of a history lesson on the whole Pete Rose gambling situation here. So amid reports that he had bet on baseball, Rose was initially questioned in February of '89 by the commissioner of baseball. And Rose stated that he had bet on football, basketball, and horse racing, but denied allegations of betting on baseball. So then came the Sports Illustrated report. Okay, then came the Sports Illustrated report. National League president Bartlett Giamatti had just become the commissioner of Major League Baseball a few days after this, or right around this. Yeah, it was like just a couple days after this. And then 3 days later, appointed John Dowd, the lawyer, to investigate the charges against Rose. So Dowd interviewed many of Pete Rose's associates, including alleged bookmakers and bet runners. He delivered a summary of his findings to the commissioner in May. In it, Dowd documented Rose's alleged gambling activities in 1985 and 86 and compiled a day-by-day account of his alleged betting on baseball games in 1987. The Dowd report documented alleged bets on 52 Reds games played in 1987, citing Rose wagered a minimum of $10,000 a day, whereas others allegedly involved in the activities claim that the number was around $2,000. Rose continued to deny all those accusations against him, but on August 24th of 1989, Rose did voluntarily accept a permanent place on baseball's ineligible list. He accepted that there was a factual reason for the ban, and in return, Major League Baseball agreed to make no formal finding with regard to the gambling allegations. And according to baseball's rules, Rose could apply for a reinstatement in 1 year. But Giamatti at that time said there's absolutely no deal for reinstatement. That is exactly what we did not agree to in terms of a fixed number of years. And, we've gone, over the years, it's been a topic of debate. Should Pete Rose be reinstated? Should be in the Hall of Fame? I don't really want to go down there. Just kind of a little bit of a historical background. And here was another nugget too. Although the Dowd report states that no evidence was discovered that Rose bet against the Reds, Dowd himself stated in a December 2002 interview that he believed Rose probably bet against the Reds while managing them. Those critical of Rose's behavior, including Hal McCoy, have observed that the major problem with Rose betting on baseball, particularly the Reds, is that as a manager, he could control the games, make decisions that could enhance his chances of winning the bets, thus jeopardizing the integrity of the game. And now, baseball, gambling, and betting is back at the forefront as we are just getting ready for opening day tomorrow with the whole Ohtani situation. This is going to be one of the top stories for a while now. But Ohtani's representatives declined again yesterday to answer questions from ESPN about which authorities they have contacted to report their allegation of theft against Ohtani's former interpreter. So ESPN has been trying to dig into this. They're trying to find out some stuff and trying to do a little investigative journalism. But ESPN, according to this piece, has been asking repeatedly for information since Ohtani's lawyers first issued a statement last week alleging that Shohei has been the victim of massive theft, and we are turning the matter over to authorities. When asked Tuesday to provide proof that Ohtani or his representatives have reported the theft to an investigating agency, a spokesperson for Ohtani declined to comment. ESPN received no confirmation from any of the likely local, state, or federal agencies that could investigate allegations of theft that they received a report from Ohtani's camp. The Department of Homeland Security confirmed to ESPN on Tuesday that it is working with the IRS to investigate Ohtani's ex-interpreter, but would not specify whether it was looking into Ohtani's theft allegation or if it had been contacted by Ohtani's representatives. So the gist of it all is the mothership, ESPN, is trying to get confirmation that some sort of agency, legal agency, is investigating this, but they can't find who it is. And essentially, the point being, did Ohtani's reps really kind of turn it over to authorities or go to the authorities? They're trying to find holes in this story. They're trying to find truth and all that stuff out there. This is boy, we're a day away from opening day, and this is still the top story in baseball. And it's going to be the top story for a while. Let's be real. It's going to be all over the place. It's going to be every little bit of nugget, every little bit of rumor, everything that just kind of leaks out there is going to be spotlighted, exploited. It's going to be a big story. And I still don't know, whatever outcome comes of this, that's going to be met with criticism. If he's cleared, you're going to have criticism from those that say, well, he's Ohtani, so of course he got cleared. Baseball doesn't want a bad look. Even if he's innocent, but he's cleared, you're going to have those that say that. If he's suspended, if he's found that he's done something or he's involved, obviously you're going to have people very critical of that, but then you're going to have others that will say, come on, you can't do that to Ohtani. It's either way, it's not going to be met with 100% like, oh, yep, completely agree with that decision. I'm sure Major League Baseball, though, is really, really, really hoping they don't find anything. And now with the Dodgers, this team that has World Series or bust aspirations. It's not just get to the World Series, it's to win the World Series. You've got this hanging over your head. Now, they could say they could tune it out, and I'm sure some can. But this will be over the head for the Dodgers. This will be a media thing for the Dodgers all season long. Players, teammates will have to answer for it. Ohtani will probably have to answer questions about it throughout the season. It's going to hang over this Dodgers team all season long. Whether it affects whether they're going to win some games or not, or win the World Series, we'll see how that plays out. But for a team that's it's World Series or complete bust, you add this on there. It's going to be an interesting case study to see how this team plays with something like this. Dave Roberts is, in my opinion, the manager who's under the most pressure this year. With all that talent and all that money invested into this team, Dodgers don't win the World Series. I just wonder if he's going to be back. There's that much pressure on this team. And if they don't, if this is going to hang over them and this affects how they play on the field, oof, man. And I think, outside, non-Dodgers fans, they're hoping for that to happen. They're hoping for everything to kind of crumble down. I get it. You're a fan of another team. You're a fan of maybe a small market team like the Brewers, so you want to see big market teams crumble like that. Or maybe you're a Padres fan, like, heck yeah, bring it on, man. Going to be interesting to follow, though. All right, let's take a quick break. I do want to talk a little Brewers as we are getting set for opening day tomorrow. What keeps falling over there? We're going to talk some Brewers as we get set for opening day tomorrow. I want to talk some Bucks with that ugly loss yesterday as well. So, but hey, keep hitting me up with some texts. 715-830-1912. Quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Two of the most important things you need to keep up to date on your vehicle are oil changes and tires. Well, guess what? You can accomplish both of those right at ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. Not only does ASAP Used Auto Parts have a wide range of high-quality used auto parts, they also offer oil changes and can hook you up with a new set of tires to hit the road. No more looking for multiple places to get each of those jobs done. You can get it all done at ASAP Used Auto Parts. Just give them a call at 715-514-4501 or visit them at 1330 Menominee Street in Eau Claire to set up your appointment. All right, Bucks last night. What an ugly loss to the Lakers. No LeBron James in the game, but Bucks can't take advantage. It looked like they were going to take advantage of it. I mean, they jump out to a 32-16 lead after the first. Same point differential at halftime. Get through the third, and thinking, okay, Bucks got this. At least I thought. And Lakers outscore the Bucks by 14, holding the Bucks to just 13 points in the fourth quarter to force overtime and another overtime. And ultimately, the Lakers win in double overtime, 128-124. Anthony Davis played 52 minutes in this game, 34 points and 23 rebounds. D'Angelo Russell played 50 minutes, scoring 29 points, 12 assists. Austin Reeves, also a triple-double for Austin Reeves, 29 points, 14 rebounds, and 10 assists. Lakers didn't have anything like off their bench for production-wise either. Prince had 9 points, and that was it. A couple guys with a couple points, but it was the three of Davis, Russell, and Reeves spearheading and essentially willing the Lakers to victory. Giannis finished with a triple-double too, 29 points, 21 rebounds, and 11 assists. He played 46 minutes. Dame had 27 points, 8 assists, but he was 3 of 14 from 3. I mean, yeesh. Beasley, 21 points, but Middleton, just 4 of 15 from the field, 12 points for him. Portis did have 18 coming off the bench, but Bucks shooting 29% from 3 and just 64.7% from the charity stripe. You want an eye-popping statistic here? The Bucks were 11 of 17 from the charity stripe. Got to the line 17 times, made just 11 of those. The Lakers went to the line 32 times and made 30 of 32. 30 of 32 from the line. 19-point differential coming from the charity stripe last night. Yikes. Yeah. The Bucks had 26 total fouls, where the Lakers just 13. Half that. 13. Half that. They were getting the line last night. So, ugly loss, by the Bucks last night. But there was also an interesting nugget on the telecast if you were watching the game, and I don't know if everybody or if anybody else caught it, but it was from Chris Haynes, and I'm going to bring it up here because I saved it. But this was after the Celtics game. Remember that the game that Giannis didn't play, and the Bucks made that comeback effort there. But this was on the broadcast, and Chris Haynes, TNT reporter Chris Haynes, said this about Doc Rivers and Damian Lillard to that loss against Boston back on the 20th. In the game against Boston, as we know, it was a close game, Doc Rivers subbed out Damian Lillard late in the closing game for a defensive-offensive substitution pattern. And Dame, as we could see in the video, was not happy at all about being subbed out. I was told that Dame actually has some words for Doc and the coaching staff saying, listen, don't ever do that again. I've never been pulled out for a defensive-offensive substitution pattern. Never. He said, I live for those moments on both ends of the court. Don't you all do that. And it led to Doc Rivers having to, after the game, send Dame a text, letting him know it's not personal. I just did what I thought was best for the team at that point. But as Chris Haynes said, since then, he has seen a fire in Dame. This is Dame's best defensive season. Something that maybe we kind of overlooked at with that Boston game. If maybe you were watching it and kind of looking at the video, seeing if you could see if Dame was a little upset or such, but I don't know if that was part of the coaching plan from Doc Rivers to, quote, light a fire under Damian Lillard. But if this is his best defensive season, and that's the thing too, is like, I get it. You see a lot of teams do this with their offensive and defensive situation. Remember, like, even if you didn't want somebody out there to shoot free throws, Shaq was a big one. I remember watching all the time where Lakers or Magic would sub in and out Shaq because they didn't want the team following Shaq for, free throws and such. But yeah, I think in a game, especially when you don't have Giannis and it's that close, Doc knows 500 times more than me about basketball. But if you already are in a game without Giannis and you've made that comeback, I'd probably want my best player on that floor. Yeah, well, I'd probably still want him on that floor as much as possible. I get it. You're doing the whole offensive and defensive thing, but I'd still probably want Dame out there. Just saying. 10 more games left for this Milwaukee Bucks team in the regular season. They've got off night tonight before they start a little bit of a road trip here. They've got New Orleans tomorrow, Atlanta on Saturday, Washington on Tuesday. I'm looking at this portion of the schedule now. Now, New Orleans is a playoff team. Currently, they're the 5th seed in the Western Conference. After that, you got Atlanta, who's currently right now the 10th seed. So they are a playoff team, but they're a 10th seed in the Eastern Conference. And then you got Washington, who's eliminated. New Orleans will be a tough game, but that Atlanta and that Washington one, got to come away with W's in that one. And then you return home after that Washington game next Wednesday, a week from today, against Memphis, who's also eliminated from the postseason. You got a stretch of these games here. And then after that Memphis one too, is Toronto at home. And Toronto's right now out of the playoffs. They're not going to make it. So you got a tough one with New Orleans. But with that stretch of Atlanta, Washington, Memphis, Toronto, take care of business and win those games. You win those games, and then you finish up your regular season against the Knicks, Boston. We'll see what their plan's going to be even for that. Orlando, OKC, and Orlando. But take care of business. Win those games that you're supposed to win. Like you were supposed to win last night. Let's be real. You got to close those games out. But now with New Orleans coming up and Atlanta, especially Atlanta, Washington, Memphis, and Toronto, take care of business and win those games. And then maybe you can wrap up the 2 seed, depending on how everything else goes. They currently hold a 2-game lead over Cleveland, 2.5 over the Knicks, 3.5 over Orlando. But if you can wrap this 2 seed up and you're into that final week of the regular season where you got Boston, you got Orlando twice, and then OKC, but you can kind of go into that final week of the regular season where, hey, maybe Giannis is getting some rest, especially with that hamstring, tendonitis, and the Achilles. Dame has been logging a lot of minutes. Middleton, we know, has been dealing with stuff. And that's the thing. Ever since Doc Rivers has come on, he's kind of had a little bit of a shorter bench, and he's really utilized the veterans in his rotation a little bit more than what Adrian Griffin has. When Adrian Griffin was over there, you saw playing time for Andre Jackson and Marjon Beauchamp and those guys. But since Doc has been there, it's kind of mostly focused on the veterans. Besides A.J. Green. A.J. Green's been getting some playing time here. I would say mostly as a three-point specialist. But you haven't been seeing, Beauchamp much and Andre Jackson like we saw at the beginning part of the year. So take advantage of this portion of the schedule coming up now. Win those games and put yourself in a position where maybe you can lock down that 2 seed, where you can rest these veterans. Give them a little bit of breather and let these young guys get some playing time in at the end of the season. If you're going to lose these games against Atlanta and Washington and Memphis, where it's going to force you to have to play all the way through, you're already putting a lot of wear and tear on some of these older guys. So take care of your business. Last night was a game that you should have won. You were supposed to win. You were at home. Lakers stink on the road this year. That was just their 13th win on the road this year, and they didn't have LeBron. And you were playing full up with your squad. You got to close games out like that. With this road trip coming up, and then when you return home for Memphis and Toronto next week, take care of your business, put yourself in a position to lock it up to where maybe you can rest some of your veterans for those final couple games of the regular season. All right, let's move to a little bit of baseball here. We got opening day tomorrow. I want your baseball predictions tomorrow. So if you can save your predictions for tomorrow here. But ESPN's got their MLB predictions up. And if you're looking at the NL Central, they don't have a lot of love for the Brewers this year. You know who they have a lot of love for? It's the Cubs. It's not even close. 16 votes of their panel of baseball people, the Cubs, 16 votes. Reds were second with 6. Cardinals, Brewers, the other 2 teams with votes, they each got 2. Pirates got none. Reading a little bit here, it says the Cubs are the favorite to win the NL Central despite missing the playoffs last year. What makes this year different? It's a tough call between Cincinnati and Chicago to win the division, but the Reds have some injuries to start the season, and the Cubs have a more experienced roster. So they're my pick to win it. But it will go down to the wire. On the surface, the Cubs won 83 games last year with a plus 96 run differential, and with nearly the same roster this year and new manager Craig Counsell in the fold, they're less likely to leave wins on the table. Cubs are void of multiple true top-end stars, but have a good 40-man roster to endure the grind of the long season. So, you got Cubs. According to ESPN, going to win the division this year, to win the NL Central this year. Other picks, let's start back to the American League. The AL East, they've got Baltimore with 22 votes, Yankees at 2, Tampa at 1, Toronto at 1. The AL Central, Twins got 16 votes. Detroit was next at 5, Cleveland 3, Kansas City at 2. The Twins have the clearest path to a division title of any team in the American League, but don't just take my word for it. At ESPN Bet, Minnesota is the only AL club listed as an odds-on favorite to win its division. All right. I feel like it's the Twins' division to lose. And, I know if you listen to last Friday's podcast, Brandon and I made our baseball picks. I feel like it's the Twins' division to lose. I think Brandon picked Cleveland, but I just feel like it's kind of like what we saw the last couple of years. May not be the top heavy. You may not see the Twins win like 95, 96 games or anything like that, but I think they've got the clearest path. I would agree with that. Detroit, I think, is a team that may surprise some teams, some people out there. Like, you haven't heard a whole lot about them in the last few years, but they may win a little bit more games this year and be kind of like, oh, okay. Something to kind of watch maybe for the near future. The AL West. Houston Astros got 14 votes. Texas Rangers 8. Mariners actually got 4 on there. Wild cards, their picks were the Yankees, the Mariners, and the Rangers. Again, these are the majority of votes, how they all went out. So, AL champion, the team that got the most votes, was the Baltimore Orioles. Houston got second with 5. Baltimore got 14. Yankees 4 on there. That was my World Series pick. See, I'm tipping my hand now. If you didn't listen to the pod last Friday, to the National League, their East picks. They went with the Braves, 24 votes. Phillies got 2 of them. We went through the Central there. NL West is the only division where it was a sweep. Dodgers. Not a single voter picked another team to win the West. But 2 of the 3 wildcard teams are from the West that got the most votes. Philly got 23 votes. The Diamondbacks got 19. The Giants got 16. So the majority of teams picked Atlanta to win the National League, not the Dodgers. Picked Atlanta. 14 votes for the Braves. Dodgers got 6 on there. World Series champion, the team that got the most votes, Atlanta. Atlanta got the most with 13. Baltimore and the Dodgers finished second with 4 votes. So there you have it. But hey, got AL Cy Young. If anybody's curious, Corbin Burns got the most votes for the AL Cy Young Award. If anybody cares about that at this point. You know, hey, Jackson Chourio got the most votes for Rookie of the Year in the National League. Says, reading a little bit here, why is Chourio your choice for Rookie of the Year? I remember when Chourio was having his breakout season, this writer says, in 2022, and I asked a pro scout how high up I should move him in my midseason top 50 prospects update. He argued for top 10, and when I brought up some concerns, he said, look, the scouts that have seen him think he has 3 sevens. He means 3 of his 5 tools, power, speed, and arm, are a 7 on the 2 to 8 scale or 70 on the 20 to 80 scale, while the other 2 might both be 60s. How many guys in the big leagues can match that? It's a single digit number, and it might be as small as 3. Add on, I add on top of that how highly Milwaukee raves about Cheerios makeup, and it's hard to justify picking anybody else. Again, Cheerios going to have, for his rookie year, so much expectations. I just worry that some fans, if he falters a little bit or if he hits like 260 or something, or if he doesn't go out there and hit over 300, or there are going to be some fans that view him as a little bit of a disappointment. This kid's under a lot of pressure. Just turned 20. He's coming in, making, he's going to be on the opening day roster. We've been hearing about him for how many years? This kid's going to, I hope he can block out the outside noise. But man, fans, and I think a lot of people in baseball are going to put a lot of pressure on him. The expectations are high, big time high for him. All right, let's take a quick break here, and then we'll finish up the second hour. New segment, The Weekend Warrior. We'll tell you what that is coming up in just a few minutes. Spring turkey hunting right around the corner. Are you all ready? If you answer no, man, time's running out. Guess you better head to Tills and Gun to get yourself ready. See, whether you're looking for a new or a used shotgun for turkey hunting this season, Tilden Gun is your go-to place when it comes to all of your hunting firearm needs. With a wide selection to choose from, Tilden Gun has just what you're looking for. You can see for yourself as you're listening to this right now by just going to tildengun.com. And the biggest selection, biggest price, or best prices at the Chippewa Valley. And with the expert and friendly customer service from Sean and Hunter, they'll help you get ready to hit the field and woods for this spring turkey hunting season. And don't forget, if you have any luck, whether it's turkey hunting or fishing or deer hunting or wherever, or you just got a cool outdoors photo that you want to share, send it to us so we can put it up on the Tilden Gun Trophy Gallery at our website, sportstalk1051.com/outdoors. John, I don't buy Otani's statement. The guy signs the biggest contract in MLB history, and he doesn't have one financial advisor or business manager that sees the red flags of money going missing. I agree with you, John, and this is it kind of relates to what Andrew Brandt, again, drink Andrew Brandt, but he posted this the other day. Let me see if I can bring it up here in a good amount of time here. Scrolling through. Come on. Yeah, here we go. I don't know. Anyways, essentially what he said was Otani either is lying or, yeah, here it is. Either Otani is not telling the truth or he has the worst best friend, interpreter, accountant, manager, agent, bank in history. So, yeah, I agree with that. Mark says maybe Major League Baseball should send Otani to the NBA for a year like NBA did with Jordan when he had to go play baseball for a year when he was gambling. Darren, not sure if you're just looking for listeners outside of Eau Claire or want to hear from all. Darren, no side of Eau Claire. Love the show. No, I want to hear from everybody. Appreciate that, Darren. We're doing a little bit. So here's my goal. I would like to. So we got this board up in the studio, okay? And I want to put like a big old map and see where we've got listeners from. Put like little notes on there or something like that. But I'm also looking for like boots on the ground from like field reporters, some pro staff peeps. So once in a while, we'll get like, Darren from the north side of Eau Claire. What's the thoughts from the peeps over there about the Brewers this upcoming season? Or Jenny from Jump River. What's the people up in Jump River think about the new kicker for Green Bay? Kind of get some feedback from the nation out there. So if you're interested in that and helping out, I got this weird idea, but I want to get more of your thoughts and your opinions and your analysis because you all got some good ones. So hit me up with a text if you're willing to help out. 715-830-1912. All right. Let's do a little. So I posted this up on my Facebook page a week and a half ago. And I forgot to do it yesterday, so I'm going to do it today. It's going to be a normal like Tuesday segment here. Okay. Weekend Warrior. All right. A lot of you listening right now, back in our glory days, whether it was like slow pitch softball, maybe some league b-ball games or golf club championships, whatever. It's your chance now to relive some of those days. Maybe for some of us, we probably should stop trying to still relive some of those days. But a lot of you had sent over, and I'm looking for some photos, some good stories, some fun stories, right? Because I want to start to feature some of the weekend warriors out there. I mean, you are the ones keeping the love of sports still alive, even though some of you should probably hang it up. So if you've got a good story, and I know you can't, anybody who's done it probably can't share some of those stories, but you got a good story, or you want to give a shout out, maybe it was just from the past weekend. Hey, we, back in the day when they still had it, we won Cinder City Days tournament. Shout out to team so-and-so, what stuff like that. Let us know so we can give them a shout out Normally it'll be on Tuesdays, but I forgot to do it yesterday, so I got to do it now. But I want to give a shout out because this is what I'm talking about here. Our good friend Rocky. Rocky sent over a picture. Lublin baseball team, 1983 runner-up in the state championship to Hayward. With that photo, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. Love it. I got to know if you still have those jerseys over there, but that's what I'm talking about. So our weekend warrior of the week is a throwback to the Lublin baseball team. 1983 Lublin baseball team, runner-up in the state championship to Hayward. Fantastic. Fantastic. So that's what I'm looking for. A lot of you sent over, some golf stuff, some softball stuff, heck, some city basketball. I don't care if it's Y League basketball, whatever. It's your opportunity so we can highlight some of the weekend warriors out there, okay? So that'll be every Tuesday. Forgot to do it yesterday, so did it right now on this Wednesday. All right, coming up next hour, we're going to do the business of sports brought to you by Security Financial Bank. If you have social media, you probably saw something kind of trending a little bit yesterday about Packers, Lambeau Field, lease, City of Green Bay, and a little back and forth between Mark Murphy and the mayor of Green Bay. So what the heck is this all about? We'll try to break it down and give you the latest, give you the what the heck is this really going on? Could, now you got people asking, wait a minute, could the Packers actually leave Green Bay? Now let's pump the brakes a little bit on that. I know there's some people kind of like freaking out about that right now. Is that possible? We'll go through it. But essentially, I think this is just some PR stuff going on that we usually see once in a while, where you're trying to make one side, put a little pressure on one side, put a little public pressure on one side to get something that they want. You know what I mean? So we'll kind of go through both sides here coming up after the top of the hour here. But initially when it came out, like I'll be honest, I didn't know anything was going on until Mark Murphy kind of let something, like he talked about something, and apparently there was an article in the Green Bay Press Gazette about the lease. And then Mark Murphy was asked about it yesterday at the owners' meetings and said that, City of Green Bay decided to stop talks about lease talks. And so now Packers are going to not do some updates to their concessions because of that. So it's like, what the heck is going on? So we will we'll go through it here with a little business of sports segment coming up here. So speaking of the Packers, we spent the first hour talking about the new kicking situation there. We've got Greg Joseph coming over, but I don't assume that Anders Carlson has lost his job. I think this is just a straight up kicking competition, kicking battle that we are going to have in spring training and in training camp. Or see, I keep saying spring training, in training camp or preseason. Baseball in my mind here. So don't just assume that Greg Joseph is going to be the new kicker. Okay, I think there's going to be a straight up battle coming at you. So we'll maybe hit that up again too in the final hour. We talked some AJ Storr. We'll re-hit that. AJ Storr declaring for the NBA draft. However, retaining his college eligibility. But there was something in his release yesterday, his statement, that kind of caught my attention. So we'll revisit that coming up here a little bit later on too. And then we'll get back to some more baseball talk as we are just one day away from opening day. Although the Ohtani story is the big thing that's kind of overshadowing opening day at this point in time. So, but all right, can't get into anything because shot clock's going to cut me off here in about 10 seconds. So we'll kick it off with a little business of sports brought to you by Security Financial Bank. Try to maybe temper down some of the concerns about the Packers staying in Green Bay. Hopefully we'll do that. Hopefully. But it did kind of catch a lot of people off guard yesterday. So we'll do our best to break it down and explain what maybe is going on here. Then we'll get back to, some hoops and baseball chat. 2 hours. We got one more to go. Some news updates. We'll be back in just a few minutes to wrap up this Wednesday morning. Third and final hour kicking off on this Wednesday morning. Big thanks for tuning in wherever, however, you may be tuning in from. Big thanks to all of you who have reached out, given us a little bit of an idea where you all are listening from. I'm recruiting you guys and gals to be kind of our boots on the ground, all right, to give us some what's the talk like around our area here. Outside of our I want to put a map up in the studio and kind of like, okay, we've got just because it's right at the top here, Terry from Thorpe. All right, Terry from Thorpe. We're gonna put a marker there. We got Thorpe covered. We got Jason from Cadott, that sort of stuff. I'm looking for how far we can expand this thing for the brand, right? So we got England covered. Tom from across the ponds over there for us. We got his input. He's covering things for us over there. So give me a shout out. Give me a text. Where are you listening to from? And I might recruit you to be one of our contributors. Okay, kind of like our pro staff, if you will. All right, hit me up with a text. 715-830-1912. All right, let's kick off this hour with the business of sports, brought to you by Security Financial Bank. So yesterday, Mark Murphy at the league meetings in Orlando. Now, I had missed this. I didn't see it. Apparently, there was an article up in the Green Bay Press Gazette about Packers and the city of Green Bay trying to, going through some talking about their lease agreements. Apparently, the Packers had reached out a while back about, talking about some lease negotiations and maybe kind of having some talks surrounding that. And saw a clip from Mark Murphy, and I'll play it here, where he noted that the city of Green Bay said that, and the mayor of Green Bay, Eric Genrich, I believe is how you pronounce the last name. Not sure if I mispronounced. I apologize. But he said that they cut off the Lambeau Field lease negotiations. Mark Murphy saying, yeah, it was disappointing. I got a call from the mayor that he was going to cease negotiations. We're going to stay in Green Bay. We're going to work things out. But, well, how about this? I'll play the clip here. Now, the audio is from a phone. It's from Ryan Wood over there. But this is from Mark Murphy yesterday at the league. All right, so that was Mark Murphy yesterday. Now, the mayor had posted a statement on his Twitter account. First of all, he said, sometimes friends disagree, but there's definitely a path to agreement here. Now, his full write-up says, my administration and I will continue to work with the Packers on a number of different initiatives, including the 2025 NFL Draft, and we stand ready to re-engage on the subject of lease negotiations as soon as the city's core priorities are legitimately acknowledged in the team's offer. And let's be clear, the lease we have is the one that was agreed to by both parties. The Packers have 18 years remaining on that agreement, and the Packers are free to make any facility improvements they'd like. Their preferred terms would reduce the rent they owe to the city of Green Bay, and it's not a good deal for our taxpayers. The city met in good faith with the Packers over the course of several months to discuss reopening the lease terms based on the team's request. Although there were productive conversations and the Packers expressed openness to the city's proposed terms, the written proposal did not reflect those discussions. The Common Council and I are united in our assessment of the terms offered by the Packers, and if the team wants a different answer, they need to bring forward a proposal that's worthy of our consideration and in keeping with what was expressed during our conversations. The people of Green Bay brought the Packers to life and have sustained the team for over 100 years. Our residents have the Packers in their hearts and at the top of their minds always. We remain confident we'll be able to jointly build a future for Lambeau Field that benefits our workers, community, organizations, and city as a whole. Now, there's a couple things here. And now, if you go to Packers.com, the main story at Packers.com, right there, forefront, Packers express disappointment over stalled talks on Lambeau Field lease. Right there. Top one. There's a little bit of confusion on my part. Now, I don't know if it's a typo. I don't know if there's something else, but the Packers, and according to the Green Bay Press Gazette, in their original article, Rich Ryman, I believe, but it's also on Packers.com, they say there's 9 years left. They say there's 9. So in the mayor's statement said there's 18. Packers are saying there's 9. Now, I know 9 years is still like, okay, 9-year lease, but a 9-year difference between the two seems a little like, okay, are we missing something here? Is it a typo or what? But from Packers.com, it says there are 9 years left in the current lease, but the two sides had been negotiating an extension for the past year. That was until a couple weeks ago when the Green Bay mayor called Murphy to inform him that he was ceasing negotiations for the time being. The Packers are open to investing in both Lambeau Field and the city of Green Bay. The organization has already spent more than $1 billion in capital improvements, operations, and maintenance, Titletown development, and charitable support since the redevelopment of Lambeau Field in 2003, and is committed to investing more than $1.5 billion into the stadium in the coming decades. That's in addition to providing a $400 million annual economic impact to the community. The Packers maintain a corporate reserve fund of more than $500 million, though that money is set aside for the financial long-term stability of the NFL's smallest franchise. Reiterating the Packers will always stay in Green Bay, Murphy said he's still optimistic the organization and city of Green Bay will get something worked out. For the time being, however, the Packers have halted offseason plans for an $80 million construction project due to the uncertainty surrounding negotiations with the city on a new lease. And that's what you kind of heard from Mark Murphy there a little bit. So my first thoughts when I heard this, I'm like, okay, so the mayor of Green Bay really trying to play hardball with the Packers. Like, you do know that's the Packers, and that's pretty much the whole city of Green Bay. Now, first of all, I'm not going to pretend I know anything about politics. Okay, and then that's not what I'm going to turn this into. And if we got people that's going to turn this into politics, I'm just going to ignore it. Okay, it's not going into a political thing. But just from what I'm understanding from both sides here, it sounds like Green Bay wanted to lower their rent. At least that's kind of what the mayor said in his statement, that they wanted to, the Packers, I should say, Green Bay, the city, and the Packers. The Packers wanted to lower their lease rent. And maybe it seems like they were kind of making the argument, hey, we are putting our own money into these facility improvements. We're not asking for public money, as Mark Murphy said. We're doing this. We've done the Titletown district. We've developed that. We're bringing in the draft, which is going to have a huge economic impact for the city and for the region, for the state. Because we're doing all this, we think you should lower the lease, what you're charging us for the lease. Whereas then, on the mayor's side, it's like, no. Or, okay, but you got to do this, you got to do that. Packers are not leaving Green Bay. Mark Murphy has said that. If that were ever to happen, that would be like the worst story in all of sports. Not the Browns leaving Cleveland or Packers leaving Green Bay would be the worst thing, and it's not going to happen. This to me is just a straight up PR battle now. The Packers have put the pressure on their local officials, local government, a little public pressure on them, because you go on social media, and I'm guilty of this too. I did it. But you go on social media and you go on Facebook and you go on Twitter, you put that out there, where's the majority of the support going to go to? It's going to go to the Packers. There may be some holes in their narrative. There may be some missing information. But that public support is going to go to the Packers, and it's going to put more public pressure on the mayor and the city of Green Bay. Like, guys, what are you doing messing with the Packers? Okay, you don't mess with our team. It's a PR battle. It's some public pressure going on back and forth. Part of the negotiation thing going on here. So, anybody worried that could the Packers leave Green Bay? It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. But you got a little bickering going back and forth. You know, my guess is that Packers looked at this from a standpoint of, they're looking at their lease agreement saying, we've done all this stuff, stadium stuff, Titletown, bringing in, the draft for next year. Maybe now they want to kind of like, okay, we've been doing this stuff. Let's see if we can lower our lease. I don't know what that amount is. I don't know it. To where, all right, City of Green Bay said, okay. Now, the thing that boggles my mind, is it 9 or 18? It's not like it's 9 or 10 where there's a year difference. It's 9 or 18. You got one side saying it's 18, then the other side saying 9. So then you got like the city saying, okay, yeah, well, you're the Packers. Yeah, we'll talk to you. Absolutely. We'll try to hash this out, figure this out. Oh, you want to lower that? Okay, but then you got to do this to help out taxpayer. It's just a back and forth. It doesn't look good. It's causing a little panic from fans, and it's putting some pressure on, which I think to me is probably the basis of it all kind of being floated out there. Maybe it was, was it leaked? These negotiations have been going on for several months apparently, and then all of a sudden they were ceased. So, okay, how do we get them back to the table? Maybe let's put a little leak out there and put some public pressure on them. Wouldn't surprise me if that's what happened. So, anybody worried if the Packers would leave Green Bay? No. I think this is a straight up PR battle. Ultimately, I think the Packers are going to win. They might meet in some middle ground here, but I think ultimately the Packers are probably going to get more of what they want, because it's the freaking Packers in the smallest market in a town of Green Bay. That is, no offense, but that is like their economy, their major economy, income over there. So, yeah, they got a big stick, and they can swing that around and almost kind of do a lot of stuff that they want to do at this point in time. It's putting some public pressure on them. So, don't worry too much, Packers fans, if you start to see like, oh my God, are the Packers moving to Milwaukee, or are they moving somewhere out? No, it's not going to happen. Okay, it's not going to happen. But it's definitely interesting timing too with election season. Now I don't know if the mayor is up for re-election or anything like that, but the other part of that too, interesting timing. It's all part of a game plan. It's all a part of a plan. These people are smart. They know what they're doing. Okay, they know what they're doing. All right, let's take a quick break here. Let's talk a little bit more green and gold. Packers signed a new kicker yesterday. Probably one of the few times I've seen so many Packers fans maybe excited about a kicker signing out there. We'll tell you a little bit about what this means. Do we have actually a new kicker? Will it still be Anders? Is there a lot at play here? We'll break it down. Spring cleaning is just for your home or office, right? Wrong. You got to take care of yourself too. So are you tired of those aches and pains that you've been holding off on getting checked out? Don't put it off any longer. Reduce your pain and enjoy the ease of your daily activities with the help from Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine are your leaders in orthopedic, brain, and spine care. So whether you are an athlete or just have an aching joint, they can help you out. Just visit cvosm.com to get started. Hey, also a quick reminder, Casper Classic, August 2nd, 4th annual Casper Classic. We still got some teams available for the early bird pricing. So if you want to take advantage of that, just head to sportstalk1051.com and to sign up your team. Big thanks. We've gotten a couple more sponsors over there too. So I'll get to the list out here and give them some special shout outs this week. But more info, more details, sportstalk1051.com for the 4th annual Casper. I know we got a little over, we launched it early. So, because it was at that time, golf courses were open, everybody was in a golf mode. I know it doesn't feel like golf weather right now, but hopefully we'll get there soon. Hopefully we'll get back on the courses soon here. But a lot of you have already signed up, so big thanks for that. Appreciate that. Really looking forward to the 4th annual Classic this year. All right. So Greg Joseph is your new Packers kicker, or is he? First hour, we went through the numbers and compared them to last year. And you're practically looking at two of the same guys, numbers-wise, statistics-wise. Both have a strong leg. Both kind of inconsistent. Overall, Anders was 81, I believe. I'll have to double-check it. 81.8%, and Joseph was 80. So, I mean, if you're looking at, you're thinking, all right, this guy was so much better than Anders and all. Last year, numbers The only big discrepancy between the two was touchback percentage. Anders was in the 40s, and Joseph was like 25, 30 percentage points higher. Now, the other part to that, though, too, could be the philosophy of the special teams coordinator or the team. Did they want more touchbacks, or did they want to force some returns? So I kind of take that with a grain of salt because we know Anders has a leg, and I'm pretty sure he could kick it in the back of the end zone every single time if he wanted to. So it kind of makes you wonder, was that more of a strategery sort of thing, a mindset, or the plan for Green Bay is like, no, we want to force some returns and maybe try to get the guy before the 25. So I don't think with the Packers signing Joseph automatically should be viewed as automatically he's a new kicker. This is going to be, in my opinion, a straight up competition in camp. Training camp, preseason, straight up competition. Best kicker wins. Whoever that's going to be, whoever has the best preseason, whoever has the best training camp is going to be the kicker. And I was one, like many of you, who thought last year should have had a veteran kicker in camp. For whatever reasons, Brian Gutekunst's Packers didn't do that. Now, I don't know if they necessarily regret it, and I don't think they would ever acknowledge this, but I do feel like a part of me, a big part of me actually, believes that Green Bay went into last year knowing, hey, this might be a little up and down. This might be kind of some highs and lows, and we're going to have to take our lumps with this. And, we're going to have some inconsistency, but we're going to live with this. But then Green Bay started to win, and they started to show signs like, hey, we've got something here. And how the season ended, I mean, it's Super Bowl expectations again, right? There's no grace period. There's no like, wait till next year. Next year they're going to be really good. Those expectations are back. And now that they're back, I think puts the importance on this team like, oh, crap, we better make sure we've got a solid kicking game. What's our biggest weakness right now on this roster or the biggest question mark? Kicking game. Consistency with the kicking game. So the way Green Bay finished last year, and now with the expectations heading into this year, and how Anders performed last year, I think spearheaded this to bring like, okay, yeah, we really need to get a veteran in and cover our butts. I don't know how it's all going to work out. I don't know who's going to win this thing, win this battle. I think Green Bay is hoping it's Anders since he was a draft pick. And I think they're hoping by bringing in some competition that'll get the best out of Anders. Maybe make him more focused. I think competition's a good thing. And as Jordan Love likes to say, pressure is a privilege. As a kicker, you're under pressure every single time you're lining up for an extra point or a field goal. Pressure should be nothing to these guys. Not to say that they're not nervous or got some butterflies or anything like that, but you should welcome pressure because you're under pressure every single time you line up for a kick. So I hope Anders takes this as an opportunity to like, all right, let's buckle down and let's really get into this. So I think Green Bay is, again, they wouldn't acknowledge this publicly. They wouldn't go out there and say it, but I think they're kind of secretly saying, man, we hope this works because we're rooting for Anders. But they had to bring in a veteran. They had to bring in a veteran to cover their butts in case it doesn't work. Let's be real. They have to. Because if they don't, and they lose games because of their kicking game, you're wasting the season. Can't lose games. And that's not to say, and again, Joseph isn't coming in with a 95% field goal percentage rate. It's not like he's coming in as one of the top 2 kickers in the league. I think it's a challenge for both these guys. It's a Joseph's coming in like, okay, I got a chance to win a job here. Puts a little pressure on him. He's been around for a few years. He's made some long kicks. He's made some game-winning kicks, as his agent so eloquently put out on Twitter. Was it 5? So he's been around for a little bit. But again, anybody expecting that Anders Carlson's career is done, I pumped the brakes there a little bit. It's going to be a straight-up competition. Straight-up competition. Oh, AJ Storr, moving on to a little bit of hoops. AJ Storr announced yesterday that he's going to be entering the NBA draft while still having his college eligibility. So if you're thinking, what does that mean? Well, if you remember a while back, they changed it up for some of these college players that entering the draft. You can enter the draft, but maintain your college eligibility because a lot of times, it's like you enter the draft, you hire an agent, you can't go back to college. And then a lot of these guys, the draft was only a couple rounds, not getting drafted, leaving college early, not getting drafted, then you don't hear from him anymore. So I know there's a lot of Badger fans and people out there saying it's too early for him to go. I don't fault AJ Storr for doing this. If I was a Division I basketball player who's coming off of a pretty solid season and a season where I started to make people notice me and I put up some good numbers points-wise, and I have an opportunity to go through the draft process and get some feedback from NBA scouts, I'm taking that opportunity. That's going to better my game if I decide to return to college. I know what I need to work on to improve my chances for the next opportunity to go in the NBA draft. I'm taking that while holding on to my college eligibility, because if I get reports that like, oh, you're not going to get drafted or you're going to be a late, back into the draft pick. Cool. I got that info. I know what scouts are looking for, what they think that I need to do better. I'll go back to college and do that. And if somehow he gets first round grades, all right, then he knows. Then he's got a decision to make. Stay in there or go back to college. I don't fault AJ Storr for doing this. Not one bit. Do I think he's ready for the NBA as a non-expert in this and just somebody who's watched him play games? I think he could be better on defense. I think he could be better consistently shooting long range three-pointers. Great at attacking the rim. Solid mid-range game. But I definitely think there's other areas of his game that he can improve on. But I don't fault him one bit for getting some input from the draft. The one thing from his statement yesterday that he released on social media does give me a little bit of pause, scratching my head a little bit. And it's a typical, statement, thanking, fans and all that. But it was how it kind of ended. My time here has been filled with moments of inspiration thanks to you all. My aim has always been to inspire and to be inspired, to push boundaries, and to redefine limits, just as Kobe did throughout his career. He's a big Kobe Bryant fan. The memories, lessons, and friendships I've made here will forever be a part of who I am. Thank you, Badger Nation, for everything. With all my heart, AJ. So, seems like a goodbye to Wisconsin, right? Seems like a goodbye to Badger Nation. If I were able to ask AJ Storr a question and get a truthful answer, my question would be, okay, you go through this process. You decide you're coming back to college. Is that college going to be Wisconsin? Because it sure seems like you're just saying goodbye to Wisconsin. And I get it. It could be just like, okay, I've got the mindset I'm going to the NBA. I got the mindset I'm entering the draft, that I'm going to get drafted. And yeah, that potentially could change later on. But it kind of seems like on the surface that if I decide to come back to college, it might be somewhere else. Might be in the transfer portal. I don't know. That's an answer I'd like to know. Like if I can pull AJ off to the side and be like, okay, man, let's just say that you decide to come back to college. Is that going to be in Wisconsin? That's what I think Badger fans want to know. I don't know if Wisconsin knows that, but I think that's what Badger fans want to know at this point. And I know it was met on social media with a lot of ridicule, criticism of the decision. Guy needs another year. I would agree. I think he's got some other stuff that he's got to improve on. I don't fault him one bit, though, for doing this. I would do it too, in a heartbeat. If I had that opportunity, if I was a hoops guy, hoopster at the D1 level, and I put up 17 points per game, and my name started to get out there more, and it's always been a goal of mine to play in the NBA, and I had an opportunity to go through the draft process and get some feedback to see what I could do to get better, or maybe to find out, hey, I would be a first-round pick, I'd do it 100%. Not 11 times out of 10, I'd do it. I don't care what anybody would say. All right, let's take a quick break here. Then we're going to wrap things up. We've got some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room. Baseball opening day tomorrow. The Brewers. How is this roster going to look when we get to opening day tomorrow? Garrett Mitchell, we know he's going to miss at least a month. Does that open a door for? Do they keep three catchers then? The way with Eric Haas has been hitting the ball in spring training. Do they go a bunch of different? How is this all going to play out? It's a big old question mark, right? Well, let's try to figure it out. We'll take a quick break. We'll make some picks, make some predicts, and then we'll talk some baseball to finish up this morning. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Time for some picks and predicts brought to you by The Elbow Room. Hey, we were over at The Elbow Room yesterday doing our first draft with a draft. Man Cave podcast, talking a little bit about the draft while having a draft. Had some Man Cave lights over there at The Elbow Room. So fantastic place. Big thanks to Garrett and the entire crew for hosting us over there. But you could check out that episode, the latest episode on the Man Cave podcast. It was posted up yesterday over there. So we'll be doing some more. We're going to be at some other locations. I know we've got Ray's Place on the dock. We're going to be at Cabin Coffee next week and such. So, but again, big thanks to the Elbow Room for allowing us to record over there a little bit. So let's do some picks and predicts. Again, brought to you by the Elbow Room in Eau Claire, located right next to the Banbury Place. Let's start off with the NBA. We've got Golden State at Orlando. Give me the Magic, man. The Magic are back. My 90s middle school Dan is so pumped to see the Magic playing well right now. But give me the Magic tonight, going up against the Warriors of Golden State's Clippers at Philly. I'm going Clippers. I'm going Clippers in this one. Let's go with Phoenix at Denver. I'm going to go with the Nuggets. Taking the Nuggets in this one. At home, absolutely. Let's do some, should we do some NHL games? Should we do some hockey games coming up here? We've got just a couple, so might as well pick both of them. First up, Ottawa, the Senators going up against the Sabres of Buffalo. Let's, and then the next one that we're going to do is Bruins at Tampa Bay. But let's go with, I'll give the advantage because both these teams for I got to sneeze here, so if I pause, I apologize. There we go. All right, let's go Buffalo on this one. Even though both these, Buffalo 17-17 at home, but Ottawa just 11-20 on the road. So give me Buffalo. All right, excuse me. There we go. Boston at Tampa. Give me the Bruins. Give me the Bruins, even though Tampa's really good at home, 21-9-4 at home. But give me the Bruins, 42-16-15 overall this season. So don't forget for picks and predicts too. March Madness will continue up tomorrow. But if you want to partake, we got a Sweet 16 bracket up on our website through the Elbow Room Picks and Predicts. So if you go to the normal bracket challenge, you'll see a couple tabs there, the 64, 16, and a 4. So you can also do a Sweet 16 bracket now, especially if your first bracket was just like, I've got no shot at this anymore. You want some more bragging rights, or if you want a little bragging rights, you can do the Sweet 16 one over there too. So that's also up and rolling. You want to make sure you do that though before tomorrow because, well, we've got games picking back up tomorrow. So, all right, let's finish up here with some baseball talk. We're going to be heavy in baseball tomorrow with opening day, unless something big happens today or tonight, like Green Bay or Bucks or whatever. But we're going to be pretty heavy with baseball tomorrow, so get ready for your predictions. I want to hear your predictions. That's your assignment, okay? Give me your Brewers predictions. Give me your Twins predictions. Give me your World Series predictions. All that good stuff. I know ESPN's already got theirs up. We went through that a little bit earlier. Wide majority of votes went with the Cubs to win the NL Central. It was Cubs that had 16 votes. The next highest was the Reds at 6. Brewers and Cardinals each had 2. Pirates had none. But Brewers wrapped up their spring training yesterday against the Rockies. So they're getting set for New York tomorrow. I'll admit I did look at the weather over New York and it ain't looking good. Hopefully they'll be able to get the game in on time over there too. But let's hope that they can get that game in there. So if you go to brewers.com, you've got opening day roster, projections, all that sort of stuff. We'll find out, today, tomorrow, the final, how it's going to work out. We know the usual suspects. William Contreras is going to be on there. Gary Sanchez is going to be on there. Rhys Hoskins is going to be on there. Bryce Terang is going to be on there. Willie Adames, Christian Yelich, Jackson Chourio, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We all know that, right? Sal Frelick, he's going to be on there. The big question marks might be bullpen, back-end bullpen. Some of the utility players like Andrew Monasterio, could it be Jake Bowers? Do they keep 3 catchers with Eric Haas? All that stuff. So we'll find all that out in the in the next 24, 48 hours and such. But when we were looking at that MLB predictions, I should say, from ESPN, the one thing they did note for the Brewers on here was the majority of the votes went to Jackson Cheerio for getting the National League Rookie of the Year. And here was the write-up about Jackson Cheerio with this thing. I remember when Cheerio was having his breakout season in 2022, and I asked a pro scout how high up I should move him in my midseason top 50 prospects update. He argued for top 10, and when I brought up some concerns, he said, look, the scouts that have seen him think he has 3 sevens. What does that mean? He means 3 of his 5 tools, power, speed, and arm, are a 7 on the 2 to 8 scale or 70 on the 20 to 80 scale, while the other 2 might both be 60s. How many guys in the big leagues can match that? It's a single-digit number, and it might be as small as 3. Add on top of how highly Milwaukee raves about Cheerio's makeup, and it's hard to justify picking anyone else. I feel like Jackson Cheerio, we're all going to pay attention to how well Jackson Cheerio does his rookie year. How the guy's going to look, how the kid's going to look, how he performs. And I feel like for some, depending, unless he hits like over 300, I feel like at times there's going to be moments when he's in a slump and people are going to be pretty heavy or pretty hard on him because of the high expectations for Jackson Cheerio. There is a ton on this kid's plate. But also the sky is the limit for this kid too. I'm excited to see him play, and I hope, I guess I'm lowering my expectations for Jackson Cheerio in the first year. I'm not going to expect over 300. I'm not going to expect MVP type numbers in the first year. Would that be awesome? And do I want it? Yeah, that would be awesome. And heck yeah, do I want that? But I'm going to lower those expectations a bit because it is his first year. He hasn't had any big league experience. He's only had a handful of games at the AAA level. So maybe I'm just lowering him so I'm not setting myself up for disappointment or anything. But maybe maybe it's just a little bit more realistic expectations here too. But this is a kid that's got, we've been talking about him for how many years now? It seems like it's been 10 years instead of just a couple. I mean, the Brewers were putting stuff out on their websites when he was in AA. You had beat reporters posting videos of him every time he had a home run in the minor leagues. I mean, the narrative surrounding this guy is like he is going to be a great ball player. And I hope he lives up to those expectations, and I hope that maybe he's going to be the future face of this franchise for a long time. But I'm setting the bar a little bit low in his first year. And it's not to say I don't believe in the kid, and I don't believe that he's going to be a good player. It's just I don't want to have super high expectations and then all of a sudden be like, dude, what's wrong with this guy? Well, they really screwed that one up. They brought him up too early. They gave him a contract too early. I don't know. So, but I'm excited to see him get going here and see him play on the major league level. Just like this whole team, it's a new excitement for this team. There was a quote from Christian Yelich. Let me see if I can bring it up here. In a crew lineup. It's on Brewers.com here. Christian Yelich, we look a lot different than we did last year. Yes, we are young, but you don't want to be, we are so young. It's the major leagues. We're going to fight. We're going to do it the right way. There might be some learning curves and stuff like that, but they are all really talented players and should be just fine. Our formula to win might be a little different as opposed to years past, but we still expect to win. That's where I'm excited with this team. Like, are they just young enough not to know any better for a lot of these guys, and they just go out there and ball? Again, a lot of the same narratives we had for this Packers team this previous year. And I love how Pat Murphy, sometimes it seems like he's going to maybe kind of keep it simple in a lot of the stuff. Pat Murphy, talking about like his lineup card, kept it simple. The best hitters will hit the most. Keep it simple. Now, Murphy said that he prefers to have Yelich at as his third. I want to hit Yelich third. I think he's valuable at 3, not just to drive in runs. It evens out our lineup a little bit. There was a reason we hit Yelich first. It was we thought we had to do that at that point. I think we're going to let somebody else emerge in that role. And I think that's what you have to do, whether it's Sal Frelick or maybe eventually it's a Bryce Strang. Get somebody on base. Play that small ball. Move runners around. Contreras probably batting at the 2. Yelich at the 3. Rhys Hoskins at the 4. Willie Adames at 5. That's probably where I imagine the lineup's going to look like initially. Sal, Contreras, Yelly, Rhys, Willie. Or maybe it's a Jackson Cheerio that eventually develops into that leadoff guy. Just getting some table setters on there for the guys who hit high for average. So, and maybe Garrett Mitchell's that option too for leadoff when he does come back from that broken hand. But we'll talk a lot more baseball tomorrow with the Brewers, right? Opening day tomorrow. Reminder, we'll be over at Hy-Vee for opening day, starting up at around 11:30. If you got nothing else going on, or you want to head out for a little lunch break in that, go visit us over there. But around 11:30, hopefully, please rain, hold off in New York. So get ready send me your predictions, your picks, Brewers, Twins, or if you're a Cubs fan, do you think you're actually going to beat the Cubs? Cubs, what are your expectations for this year? If you're a Cubs fan, what are your expectations? You got Craig Counsell now, but maybe you didn't spend as much as you thought you were going to in free agency. So what are your expectations for this season? What do you got? Let me know, okay? But we'll break it all down tomorrow, our baseball-heavy opening day episode. Doesn't feel that. I don't know. It just kind of, I don't know. It doesn't quite feel like opening day yet. Maybe it'll hit me tomorrow. Once I put on that Brewers jersey. DP and the Danettes, they're up next. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. Big thanks to everybody who texted in your locales, where you're listening from. I got to get a poster up of all the counties in Wisconsin and mark you all on there. All right, let's do it again tomorrow, 6 a.m. Talk to you then.